Get ready.
Hey, good evening everybody. In tonight's video, our topic of discussion will be how to safely transport a video arcade machine such as these that you see behind me right here. Now, I've often been asked by friends or any passerbys what I do to safely transport one of these. So I put together a list of 10 different things that I do to safely get these cabinets to my destination. So that being said, we'll start off with number one. Number one thing that I do is check for loose components. Check the monitor. I give it a good shake to make sure it is not loose, because oftentimes people will work on these cabinets some point in the past and they'll be sitting for a while and maybe they have forgot to put bolts back in. I did buy an outrun, not this outrun. I must have bought 4 or 5 different outruns that I acquired over the years. And one of them actually had a monitor that was just placed in the cabinet. No bolts, no screws, nada, nothing. So had I not inspected that, if we would have moved that cabinet, I would have lost that monitor, and needless to say, that would have been a really bad day. So I always start with the monitor, make sure that's nice and tight. Another thing that I check often is, for example, Atari cabinets have a massive power brick situated at the bottom of the cabinet. And I'll go ahead and I'll show you what one of these looks like, and you can see what I mean if you haven't seen one of these before. Okay, this is the inside of my Missile Command cocktail table, and here is, at the bottom here, is situated the massive power supply, power brick for this game. This is an Atari style power brick. These are commonly found in most Atari games, and that thing probably weighs a good 15, 20 pounds maybe. You know, I don't know exactly, but it's not light, and it's something that could do some major damage. Okay, I got a little funny story now talking about the power brick. I bought a Paperboy a couple years ago, and it was about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 hours from here, and I was talking to the seller. We just got, you know, so engrossed in our conversation. I did check the monitor when I was in there. I shook the monitor was fine, and you know, we were just shooting the breeze, and I forgot, it was my fault, I forgot to check the power brick at the bottom. And when I left, I just assumed that I did, or I assumed that it was bolted down correctly. And I loaded this thing in my trailer, and when I got it back to the house, I lifted the cabinet up, and I heard a clunk inside the cabinet, a heavy, loud clunk. And I almost had a heart attack, because I thought maybe during transport, like I said, this was many hours away and it was in the trailer, and you're hitting all those bumps and everything, and things are bouncing around. And you know, the Paperboy has a medium resolution 19-inch monitor in there. And if anybody who's been in this hobby a while knows that those monitors are extremely hard to come by, number one. And number two, if you can come across one that someone's willing to sell, they are very pricey. I mean, at this time, I would imagine, you know, $700, $800 easy for one of those, maybe even more. But I thank the arcade gods and the arcade angels, or what have you, for looking out for me that day, because that power brick could have bounced around and necked that monitor. Now, the back of the monitor is the most fragile part of the tube. It's called the neck. If you're new to into the hobby, that's what it's called. And if that power brick would have hit that neck, all of the air would have been expelled from there, and that tube would no longer be repairable by any stretch. There is nothing, once the tube is necked, there is nothing at all you can do to fix it, short than replacing it with another tube. And as I mentioned, those are very hard to come by. So I got really lucky in that instance, and the monitor's fine. I still have the Paperboy, works like a dream, and that could have been a really, really bad situation. So yeah, so make sure you go through thoroughly and make sure nothing is loose floating around in that cabinet. And that kind of segues us into number two, which is Remove what you can. Now, by that, what I do is I personally remove the coin mechanisms if they're easily removable. Most times they are. I take the coin mechanisms out and I store them in the vehicle beside me in the cabin. And what else I remove from there is oftentimes I will remove the PCB, otherwise known as the printed circuit board, or the main game computer, because if they're not mounted correctly, again, going back to checking your, if everything's loose and make sure everything's tight. Oftentimes, if you transport in a trailer, you don't have a lot of suspension in the trailers. So you're gonna feel, if you were to stand in your trailer while it was being moved, you would feel a lot more impact and a lot more shock to your body. Same goes with having one of these games be inside there. So what I like to do is I take the main computer and keep it beside me along with the coin mechanisms as well. I would suggest to take photos of everything before removing. That way, when it comes time to reassemble, you have a frame of reference. And it also helps to ensure that you have the electrical connectors plugged in the proper orientation and in the proper positions as well. So when you remove your game board from your cabinet and place it in your vehicle, I highly recommend wrapping it in a towel or a blanket for a couple of reasons. One, you want to protect it from accidental damage. And two, the chips on the board can have this exposed window. These chips, they have some labels that are covering it, so those should be fine. But some game boards do not have stickers, or this one looks like it fell off at some point. You can kind of see the residue of where the old sticker used to be. So if this is exposed to the sun or any UV light for an extended period, you can actually erase the data from that chip, and it would have to be reprogrammed again. In these cabinets you'll find coin buckets. Here, similar to this right here. So if this guy was flopping around and was to hit the monitor or the main computer, that could do a lot of damage. So there are two types of coin doors that I like to classify these as. You have a contained unit, which this cabinet has the contained coin door, and I'm going to show you this in a little bit. This one is contained, so if it was contained in here, I would leave it alone and leave the thing in there. You just have to make sure that the metal inside here is bolted down tight, and that's not going to fly around as well. But if you go to the cabinet beside me here, like this was originally a Miss Pac-Man cabinet, similar to the Pac-Man cabinet. This has what I call a loose coin bucket. So this guy is here, and there's a lot more space. It's not contained. Like I said, I'm gonna show you in a second what I mean by this. Okay, this is what I was talking about, it being a contained unit. So let's open this up. We'll pull our coin bucket out. Oh, look, there's a straggler in here. Let's get that out of there. Anyways, so if you look in here, it can't leave here. It can't leave here. Can't leave here. Can't leave here. It's like a jail cell for the for the coin bucket. So it can't go inside the cabinet and start flopping around and start damaging things. So this is what I like to call a contained unit. So if it was me transporting this and it had keys, or if I could lock this down while I was in transport, I would, and I would just leave it in there. It'd be no problem. Now I'll show you another example of a loose style. Okay, here is an example of a loose style right here. So let's open this up. So this one here, you see all this space? I mean, it's got this piece of wood. It's somewhat protected, but some are not this lucky. And there's another piece of wood down there at the bottom to protect it from going back. Even though it's somewhat protected in this cabinet, I would still remove this. I would remove this whole assembly out. You just lift and pull. And bam, there it sits in that basket right there. This can still bounce around and damage the components on the control panel if it was left in here during transport. So I highly recommend taking those out with you and storing them beside you in the vehicle. Okay, that takes us into number 3. Number 3 is You decide how you want to transport your video arcade cabinet. There's a common misconception floating around that you cannot haul one of these games on their backs or on their sides. Completely false, completely false. As long as you do the first two steps that I've mentioned, you check for your loose components and you remove, things that, you can take in the car with you, you can haul these things safely on their side or on their backs. Now, if I had a cabinet with beautiful side art, would I want to tow it on its side? Probably not, but if I did, I would use plastic wrap or blankets. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but most of the games I do pick up, they need some sort of restoration work anyway. So if they don't have side art, or if it's something I'm going to be painting or putting side art on later on, I don't mind to put it on its side. I really don't. Okay, number 4, get yourself a good set of ratchet straps. Now, for me personally, what I use is the Husky brand ratchet straps you can find at Home Depot. They're red and black in color, and they are rated for 1,000 pounds. Now, a set of 4 of these only cost $20, and I've been using this style for many years, and I've never had a single issue with the use of those particular straps. I recently bought a brand new set of the same style ratchet straps because I've used the same set for about 7 years, and that's, in my opinion, I should have bought a set a long time ago. They were starting to thin out. The material of the strap was getting thinner, and you could see some splitting on either side on one of them that I had. So I said, you know what? I'm well overdue for a new set of straps, so I'm gonna go ahead and get them. So I recommend you change your straps every 3 years, and if you're using them, every day or extreme heavy use, maybe every couple of years, because like I said, $20 is such a small investment in ensuring the safe transport of one of these babies, and why take a chance? Okay, number 5. If you're going to transport the game in a pickup truck, in a open trailer, I highly recommend using plastic wrap, where you can buy that pretty much anywhere. You can buy it at Home Depot, you can buy it at U-Haul, Amazon, Lowe's, you name it, Menards, wherever. And get yourself a good set of moving blankets. I use moving blankets from Harbor Freight. And what I like to do is I'll put a moving blanket on top of the game, a blanket or 2 or 3, depends on the size of the blanket. And then you can wrap the plastic wrap around the cabinet with the blanket on it. So basically, or what you can do is, if you really want to, go all out, you can wrap it first in plastic, do, 1 coat in plastic, and you put your moving blankets on as well, and then put another coat of plastic over it so you can hold the blankets in place as well. This will ensure that the games, if you're driving and you get caught in a bit of rain or snow, that they'll be adequately protected. It also protects from sun damage and the rest of the elements out there. Okay, taking us into number 6, drive carefully. Watch out for those potholes, particularly if you are hauling your game in a trailer, because trailers, although they have a suspension system, the suspension system is very rudimentary compared to the suspension that your vehicle will have. So anything that you're going to haul is going to feel a lot more impact than in the trailer than it would if you were hauling it in a pickup truck, for example. So since we're on the subject of trailers again, let's talk about placement. If you have a big trailer, where do you place the game? Do you place it in the front? Do you place it in the middle? Do you place it in the rear? Now, what you're supposed to do is you want the bulk of the weight to be as close as possible to the front of the trailer toward the tongue. So That way you have better stability while driving. Now, if the cabinet was in the rear, a lot of people say, no, I'm going to put my game or my whatever I'm hauling, I'm going to put it in the rear where the axle is, because they think that the axle is the strongest point, you know, and it's like, well, if you do that, for example, if this is the trailer, this is your car, if you're turning, it's going to wobble like mad, you know, so you don't want to put all the heavy stuff toward the back of the trailer. You want to put it toward the front by the tongue, and make sure, of course, that it has enough ratchet tie downs to hold it properly in place, so the game is not bouncing around. Now, when I'm on the highway hauling a game back, I stay all the way to the right in the slow lane, and like I said, just watch out for those potholes, no sharp turns or anything like that. Okay, tip number 7, consider a good dolly. Now, personally, I own 3 different dollies, 3 different types of dollies, I should say. Number 1 being I have an Escalera Staircat power dolly. It's a power climber. It climbs the stairs by itself. Well, I mean, I still have to hold it and guide it, but I don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. So that thing is really nice. However, it has hard wheels on it, so it's not good on all type of terrains. It's really good on smooth surfaces, but if you have to drag a game out from a shed or a garage that's in the back and there's no concrete or anything like that, I do have a dolly that has rubber wheels that you fill them up with air. Now, I find that the rubber wheels with air are the best type of wheels to go over that type of terrain, to go over grass, to go over dirt, you know, a gravel. That would be the best thing for that. Now, my Escalera, there's a couple different kinds of Escaleras. There's one that has a kick out, where basically you could put the game at about a 45-degree angle, and it's got a kick out, so you don't have to balance it. You just have to kind of let it sit, and all you do is push and swivel. It's really easy to use if it's in that fashion. My Escalera does not have that, so I do have a dolly that does have a kick out, but it's just a regular standard garden variety dolly with a kick out. So if it's a real heavy game, for example, what's a real heavy game? Terminator 2, that's a common one everybody likes. Well, everybody knows anyway. That one's a pretty heavy cabinet. So if I was to move that for a pretty decent distance, I would opt to have the dolly with the kick out, because I don't have to exert a lot of force moving it. So consider get yourself a good dolly that'll suit your needs, or get yourself a few dollies like I did. It all depends on, you know, what you have and what you want to do with them. Okay, number 8, measure your entryways. Now, this is something that should be done more often than you think. I can't begin to tell you how many times that I'll buy a game from someone that they recently bought the game, but they can't get it into their house, or they can't get it into their basement or to their rec room or wherever they want to put the game. So by the time they get it home, it's one of those moments. Oh no, what did I do? I can't get it in the house, or I can't get it wherever. So measure your entryways and make sure that the game you are buying is going to fit in the space that you want to put it in. Number 9, check your tire pressures. Check the tire pressure in your vehicle. If you're using a trailer, check the tire pressures in the vehicle and your trailer. So if you don't know what your tire pressures are supposed to be in your vehicle, it's real easy. Most vehicles, when you open the driver door, there's going to be a sticker in the door jamb area that will tell you the manufacturer's recommended tire pressures. If it's not in the door jamb area, check on the driver door itself. When you open the door, it should be on the side there. You can't miss it. I mean, they're always clearly labeled. Now, as far as the trailers go, this is what I do anyway. You know, I usually keep, when I'm in my 4x6, because I can only usually haul one game in there, I usually run about 40 psi and in both wheels. And if you're going to haul something a lot heavier, consider going maybe a little bit higher. But you can check the rating on your trailer tires. It'll tell you the max psi on the trailer tires, and you can kind of go off of that. Now, too much air, you know, let's say your max is 60 psi, okay? If you put 60 psi, you might get a lot of trailer hop. You know, my 4x6 is a small trailer, so it's susceptible to a lot of trailer hop. So that's why I run about 40 pounds in there. it kind of reduces the trailer hop. But you don't want to do, you don't want to go too low either, because then it creates a lot of friction and a lot of heat, and you could risk having blowouts. Same goes in your cars. Always make sure, or your vehicle, make sure that the tire pressures are correct and you are running a safe, good amount of air in each and every tire. Make sure that there's no punctures or leaks or anything like that, particularly if you're going on a long trip. I myself have gone through, I've been to all the surrounding states around me, and I've been as far as 6 hours one way to pick up games. So it's very, very important. I cannot stress that enough. Makes all the difference. Okay, taking us into number 10, reassembly. After you get the game into its final destination where you want to keep it and play it, make sure you put back any coin mechanisms, PCBs, coin buckets, electrical connections. Make sure those are all nice and snug and tight. And also what happens is during transport, not always, but it's been known to happen, the neck board on some tubes can slide out. So you want to make sure that that's nice and snug. I'm going to show you an example. We're going to go back into the missile command, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about when I mentioned that the neck board can come loose. This is your neck board right here, and we're just going to go ahead and pull this out. So even if it does come out completely, just make sure you line it up. Like, this is just some glue right here. I'll just take this off because I've already rebuilt this monitor at one point. And then you're going to make sure that all your pins line up and they're not bent or anything, and just slide it in, and then work it in nice and easy. Don't hammer it down because you can break this and then you're done for. So just go nice. There we go, nice and snug. And that's it. It's that easy. So those are my top 10 tips that I use to haul these beautiful machines to their final destinations. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and let me know what you think. And if you have another idea on how to safely transport a game, drop a comment below. Let us know. I'd love to learn new techniques, and I'm sure everybody else out there would as well. So I thank you for watching, and ta-ta for now.